what we're talking about today is that a lot of people think when myasthenia gravis or any autoimmune disease flares, the flare can be so severe that it can be life-threatening, debilitating, scary as hell, and present a very hopeless situation. So what we're doing today is we're going to be answering questions about how Nympha and Leon were able to turn this around within just a matter of the past couple weeks. And I am Dr. Maggie Yu, and I'm an integrative physician. I and our program is an online program focusing on how to transform autoimmune disease naturally. And today, and so for all of you that are watching, I would love for you, as you're joining us, anybody that you know that can benefit from learning more about turning around their autoimmune disease, whether they have myasthenia or any other autoimmune disease, go ahead and share this in the comments, their name in the comments, share it to your page right now, and in the comment section, put their name below, because raising awareness is key. And so I thank you in advance. And right now, if you're watching, go ahead and give us some hearts, some thumbs up. This is not an easy thing for Nympha and Leon to share. This is a very personal aspect of their life. And so if you can encourage them, that'd be great. And any of the alumni that are watching right now, please identify yourself as an alumni in the comment section, just so people know that there are other alumni in our program. You can help answer some of the questions that people will post underneath in the comment section. So what I'm going to do right now is, without further ado, I'm going to ask Nympha and Leon to introduce themselves and tell us where they were before they started this program about 2 months ago. Take it away.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Nympha, and I was first diagnosed with myasthenia gravis in 2016, and it was myasthenia gravis with malignant thymoma. So I went through surgery and I also went through radiation. I went through all the treatment, the conventional treatment of myasthenia, but I've always had this flare. And the worst flare that I had was last year. This was before I joined the program. I was in the hospital 3 times. I was in the ICU a couple of times. And when I went out, it's like, I am still not okay after all those hospitalizations. So that's why it was something like a question in my mind. It's like, there has to be something out there other than just being at the hospital. What will solve my problem? So that's when I researched and I found the program.
So Leon, what was it like for you watching her go through this latest flare with myasthenia?
Well, okay. First, I'm Leon, of course, and the flare started in September. And it's like she said, every time she went to the hospital, she seemed to be getting worse and not improving. So I'm spending a lot of time at the hospital. We have 2 kids that I'm trying to basically do everything. Take the kids to school, pick up the kids, go to the hospital, take care of Nympha. Take her special food to the hospital because she's not eating what they have for her. She lost a lot of weight. In the last episode, I was actually out of town and she had to go back to the hospital. So it was nerve-wracking trying to do what I need to do, knowing that she's not getting any better.
Mm-hmm. What was she like from your point of view with the symptoms when we first talked 2 months ago? What was it like? What was a day in the life like for her and you?
Well, of course, morning would start. I'd have to get up, fix her breakfast, make sure she was able to get back and forth to the bathroom. We went so far as to put a toilet in the bedroom because she couldn't get to the bathroom. So we've gone from the point of where she's basically helpless, drooling like a little baby, to the point where now she is stronger. She can cook her own meals, and actually she's to the point where she's doing her chores again. So I don't have to cook all the meals.
Her chores again.
Well, those things we all have to do.
Well, let's talk about this. So let's go right into, because we're getting into outcomes right now. So what you're saying is, before, I mean, Nympha, you were saying, I mean, for me, when I saw you guys 2 months ago, when we had our first conversation, you couldn't smile, you couldn't cook, you couldn't swallow, you were drooling, you could barely move, and you were literally just very limp on the couch, and you were losing weight fast. I mean, what was your weight when we talked like 2 months ago? It was, I believe it was very dangerously low for you.
I think when I got out of the hospital, if I remember it right, it was like 93 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was so hard because I could not really eat. I could not swallow so good. So and that was one of the major thing, because if I cannot eat anymore, then that's it. That's it for me.
That's what you told me. You had told me, this is it for me.
Yeah.
Right? And you were like, I can't swallow, I'm losing weight, 93 pounds, and the weight was dropping. And you were at the point, you're like, I'm getting close to the point where I might have to have IV therapy to get nutrition into me, or I'm gonna die.
Well, Maggie, one thing we didn't tell you is that while she was in the hospital, she almost died.
Yeah. Tell me about that, Leon.
Well, I didn't find out about it until afterwards, when she had to go for a transfusion, one of these treatments,
Yeah.
and they injected something into her veins, and she was allergic to it. So she broke out in hives. Blood pressure went down to where she was about barely alive.
Yeah.
And of course, with all the weight she had lost and that low blood pressure, I mean, it was a miracle that she pulled through.
So this is what happens when you have such a severe flare with autoimmune disease. Some of you, those of you who are watching in the audience right now, how many of you have been hospitalized because of the flare of autoimmune disease or a complication from the flare that you ended up in the hospital? And the issue is that once you get into the hospital, I mean, there's a lot of interventions that are going to happen, and some of which can be life-threatening in themselves besides the flare. You know, so when you have a flare, it's life-threatening. You go in the hospital, but yet the interventions themselves that are from the hospital, we don't have a choice. When you're in the hospital and you're that sick, we have to do it. As doctors, we have to do it, but they're not without risk. The risk of infection and hospitalization is really high. The risk of allergic and life-threatening allergic reaction to some of the medications, contrast, things that we do to you, it's a risky proposition. Not only are you sick, but you're going into a situation where a lot of things can be introduced to get you sicker. Luckily, you survived. So, right. So, but I like to take luck out of it. I remember in the beginning on our first conversation, Leon, we had, and Nympha, we said, you know, Nympha said, this is it. And I looked at you, Leon, I said, not on your watch and not on my watch, dude.
That's correct.
I said that. And
That's
I said,
right.
and if that happens, you're coming on a Facebook Live with us to tell everybody about it.
Yeah, that is Maggie, I remember the very first conversation. That's exactly what you said.
Mm-hmm.
And you told us about the program, and you asked us, how committed are we to it? And it's like, this is a life and death matter. So we are very committed to it.
Well, you want to hear something funny, Leon? I actually watched that meeting we first had, and you said, what do you mean, how committed do we have to be? And I looked at you in the eye and I said, how committed do you have to be to save your wife's life?
That's right.
Yeah. And you said, well, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's right.
That's true.
Right. So let's talk about where are we now with the results? This is 8 weeks later. I would like Nympha to tell us where she is now. What outcomes have you gotten? And then Leon, if you feel free to add to that in the meantime. Go for it, Nympha.
Okay, well, I was still at the program. Actually, I've already noticed differences. And I was so amazed because when I entered the program, my own intention was just, well, how would I eat? You know, that was my only thing.
That was the only problem you wanted to solve. And I thought,
Yeah.
I was telling you, I was like, Nympha, it's so much more than that.
Yes.
Right?
I
You just want to eat. Yeah.
Yes, I was thinking, it's like, how can I eat? Because, you know, without eating, that's it. So that was it. When I entered the program initially, I was thinking about that. That was a major thing for me.
Right.
And then when I started the you know, learning about it, the first week, the second week, it's like, whoa, it's more than just that. So I started, wow, it's more on like a big picture. You know, it's like, I didn't know that there's so many things that are actually connected to my autoimmune disease, or what that's causing the autoimmune disease. Because now I kind of remember that when I was at the hospital, they were all wondering why I'm not responding to the treatment. I said, there must be something else going on. So anyway, so the first few weeks I did what, I followed all the things that we need to follow, the regulation of the food, the all that stuff. And I said, I noticed the changes. And I remember I telling everybody that I used to blend, actually Leon used to blend the food to be able for me to kind of eat a little bit better. And then during the program, I wasn't at the program when I started eating, really chewing and swallowing and smiling. And I know the people in the program were actually noticed it. And then I started cooking for myself. I started having the energy because I found out all my nutritional vitamin deficiencies. And I started addressing them one at a time. And all those issues that I have prior to the program, started addressing them. So there's so many things that actually happened during the program itself. I was able to go out with Leon, get groceries. I was able to lower some of the medication that I have. So it was really good.
Well, one thing I can say, Maggie, when we first talked to you, she couldn't have had this conversation because she couldn't talk for very long. And that's a big thing. So instead of me trying to figure out what she's trying to say, because don't get it. So now she's able to communicate to the point where she can tell me what she needs me to do or what she wants.
I remember asking you, Leon, what would it be like if you knew that exactly what you need to do to help your wife out, to actually help her get better? What would that mean to you? And you said everything. And that's where you're at right now, because you know exactly cause and effect. What are the pieces that were causing this problem? Like Nympha just said, she in the hospital, she knew something has to be underlying this. And to me, what's lacking in autoimmune disease, honestly, is that the way we actually treat autoimmune disease is like literally in the frickin' Stone Ages. There's nothing about root causes at all. Nothing about putting all these pieces together. It's like we're just treating symptoms all over the place with more drugs, more procedures, more hospitalization, and it's not working. I mean, right? And let's talk about this. What was it? People want to know in the audience. By the way, Shelly's in the audience. She says hello. Jackie's in the audience and she says hello. Welcome alumni on here. And thank you. If you're an alumni and you're watching right now, please post in the comment section that you're an alumni and you're watching to help answer some of the questions. That'd be awesome. So everybody wants to know is, what is it that we do? Because this looks like a miracle. To someone with a severe autoimmune disease, what the outcomes you've experienced within, and you said it's not even like at week 8 that you got these results. During the program, week 2, week 3, week 4, you were already experiencing a lot of these results. And people cannot believe that in such a severe bout of myasthenia or autoimmunity, that within weeks you could get outcomes like this already. So people want to know how. What do you think is the secret sauce? As to give me a couple secret sauce things that the audience wants to know as to how you did this. What made this work?
Well, there's a couple things I would say. One thing is identifying the cause. So a lot of people are trying to fix the symptoms, as you say, but we got to get deeper than that. Find out exactly what the cause is, and then you can fix the cause. And the next thing I would say is mindset, is because you got to believe that it can be fixed too. So, and that's where we were. When you told us that you could help us and asked us about that commitment and all that stuff, we believed you. And because we believed you and we did what you said do. And another thing is too, some of the alumni who were in the group sessions were saying, hey, this stuff works. So that was additional motivation to say, hey, it works. My time is coming too. So knowing that our time to get better was coming was a motivational, and it kept us on track to make sure that we're going to get there. And we are today.
So what I'm hearing, Leon, is that belief. So belief was important because number one is both of you believed that you actually could get better, number one.
Of course.
Number two, prior to talking to me, you actually watched a lot of these alumni interviews. And you believe that, well, a lot of people think these interviews are fake or I'm a snake oil salesman and I'm lying. So number two is that you actually watched the other, I mean, we've got 30 alumni interviews right now out there. But you watched these interviews and you believe that these are real people with real results. And when you actually spoke to me, you knew that I was talking about the truth. And what I was talking about was true. And then once you came into the program, all the other people that are in the program with you, they were already seeing outcomes, further proof that this was real, dang it.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. I could tell you right now, 90% of the audience just thought we were lying.
No. Well,
they thought that was bullshit.
It is not a lie. And I am here to say that 8 weeks ago, when we joined this program, Nympha could not conduct this interview. I will stake everything I got on that fact.
But you know, another thing too that I think for me is a good thing in the program is that we just didn't just join there like as a group. You know, you actually took our personal data, and based on that personal data, that's what you use to be able to fix the cause. What's causing all this problem? So it's not like a general band-aid for everybody. Like, hey, your stomach is aching. Here you go, eat this. No, you got to find out why my stomach is aching, why somebody else's stomach is aching, why it's not the same for everybody. So that personal data, and you based that all the solution on what's going on, what is really going on, the root cause is really addressed. That's one thing that I like about the program.
Well, that's the issue is a lot of people look at this and they think, oh, it's an online program, therefore it's some general thing. And some people ask me, why don't you write a book? The reason I don't write a book right now is because I don't believe that there's one protocol that works, that there's one plan that works for everyone. An individualized approach based on your data and your own learning of troubleshooting, how to figure out what your causes are is the key to success in our program. I love telling people that the major mission of our program is I teach people how to fish. I don't throw fish at people. So did I tell you what the causes were? Did you figure it out while you were going through this program? Did I teach you to skill so that you and Leon can figure out what was the causes for you? Tell me, be honest.
Yeah, you educated us to the point where we could do it ourselves. And dealing with our conventional doctors, now we can tell them different things. We can ask them questions about different things that we have learned and get feedback from them. And I'm not a doctor. I'm an engineer by trade, so I know nothing about all these medical terms. But my question is, will it work? That's what I like. So that when the doctor proposes something, it's like, wait a minute, you're proposing that medication. Will it solve the problem? If they say, well, we don't know, then I need to try something different. We're not guinea pigs or pincushions. We live, and we don't want our lives destroyed because somebody wants to experiment with some new drug, which they suggested that we do. But in multiple times we said no.
And the thing is, for me, like, I'm not against drugs. Here's the deal, okay? But they're just one tool. But unfortunately, the conventional doctors, which I was one of them, we're only trained to do either drugs or surgery on people. That's really our only offer. We're not trained on all the other tools. And think about it. My thing about this is that having had autoimmune disease myself and being in a life-threatening situation myself as well in the past with this is that there are so many other tools besides medication or surgery. And so for me, one of the major things that we've done in our program is educate people in the program in a small group setting exactly what all these other tools were. So it's not like you're coming to the doctor now and saying, hey, what are my options? They say, oh, try this new drug for myasthenia. You're like, okay, that's option one. That's one option. But now I know what the other 6 options are to get myself better. right? That's based on root cause.
That's true. Because when I got out of the hospital, basically they just told me like, just go home and recuperate. That's it. And I said, okay, what am I going to do? What's the next step for me? How am I going to recover? Like you always say. So that's when, like I said, when I joined the programs, like it's more to it than just taking the medication 3 times a day or 5 times a day. So when I look at it, I didn't realize that my hormones was involved in all that in my myasthenia. I didn't realize that my vitamin deficiencies is a big part in myasthenia. I didn't realize about blood sugar, the way I eat. I didn't realize about all the other things that's actually contributing to the flares of myasthenia.
So here's the deal. Those of you who have not watched our online training, please go to drmaggieu.com right now and register to watch our training, okay? There really is, I look at autoimmune disease like freaking he's Godzilla. And Godzilla is causing all the damage in all these different targets in your body. But there is 5 areas you have to master to stop feeding Godzilla. And I do not understand, actually, and I do understand. Nobody out there dealing with autoimmune disease knows how to map that these 5 things are the pieces that you have to master to stop feeding Godzilla. And Nympha just mentioned a couple of them. It's like, have any of you, I'm gonna ask you guys right now in the audience to comment, have any of you with autoimmune disease been told that hormone imbalance is one of the major causes as to why you started to have a diagnosis of autoimmune disease and why it's getting worse? Anyone? Has anyone talked to you about hormone balance being important in actually decreasing or stopping the flares of your autoimmune disease? Really, like, you know, and have you actually went to your doctor and asked about this and they're like, hormones doesn't matter? The truth is they've never been trained to even test hormones, to understand hormone balance, much less train you how to do it, right? And then I even mentioned, and you talked about blood sugar, like, and people don't get it, that it's not just about high blood sugar. It's really the up and down swings of blood sugar that's triggering these flares. And it's really not, I mean, and has anyone talked to you about the role of blood sugar in the years you've been dealing with myasthenia? I'm going to ask you two this.
No. Actually, I remember that one doctor visit, he says, the doctor says, go have a milkshake. Well, if we had not known about the food tolerances, we would have gone out and given her a milkshake, but she can't have milk.
She can't have dairy. Dairy's causing her flares.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's what you found out.
That's
right. That's how I
go
found
have
out.
Milkshakes.
Yes.
Basically, go kill yourself more with myasthenia because you're going to flare yourself more. Food doesn't matter. That's
right. And I remember too, I mentioned something about when you mentioned about hormones, and then I said something is connected to it. And this doctor told me that just get a hysterectomy. Just have an operation and remove this, remove that, remove this.
Conventional doctors only can offer medication or surgery.
Yes.
Right? Well-meaning people. I was one of them, all right? So I've been a physician over 20 years, the first 10 years of it as a straight family physician until I came down with autoimmune disease. Okay. And the last 12 years of my career has been focused on autoimmune disease. Because once you figure this out, I'm a hypocrite if the next person comes to me with autoimmune disease and I'm sitting here like, oh, you have heartburn? Let me just prescribe you some Prilosec and not look at what is causing this problem. I'm not going to do that, right? That's my own mission. If you guys have seen the video about my mission, my mission, because of what my mom went through, really is about ending suffering for all people with autoimmune disease. It's not just about getting people in and out of the office in the next 10 minutes. Now, big burning question. A lot of people wanting to know is that are your outcomes compared to other people in the program? Am I putting just people with crazy great outcomes on these videos? How were your outcomes compared to what you saw of other people who were in the program?
It was a good outcome. You know, for me to be able to eat, to be able to swallow, to be able to walk, to be able to move my hands. You see my fingers moving really good, to be able to play the piano, to be able to...
Piano, I saw the post.
Yes, yeah. So all those things that I was not able to do.
Yeah.
Or I would not, it is. It is a really good outcome, great outcome.
It's a great outcome, but the question people have is, did you have a great outcome compared to other people? Were all the other people with low outcomes or middle of the road outcomes? How did it compare to other people in the program? How is everyone else in the program doing, is their question.
The answer is, I don't think we got any better results than anybody else. We started off, and the other folks went from where we are to where we were to where we are. And I know this because as they were graduating, they were telling us, saying, hey, this stuff works. I went from where you are today to where I am today. It works. So that was the motivation for us to say, hey, yeah, it's working. Change is slow, but it's coming.
Well, it wasn't slow, dude. It was like weeks.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't overnight. I couldn't snap my fingers, Maggie.
Yeah, I remember when people were started joining, and I was listening in my first week, and I remember that some of them joined the same time as mine, and some of them were there before I did. So I remember a lot of them telling about a lot of symptoms, and then slowly decreasing. All those symptoms are starting to just go away.
Well, you're actually going through a program with a community of people, and you see them learn stuff. You see them make mindset changes. You see them make these connections with hormones, blood sugar, food mapping. And then you're actually seeing them the next week, and the next week as they actually improve. It's not like they're just telling you, you're witnessing their life coming back.
Yes.
For reals.
That's right.
Right. Next question that people have as we're starting to wrap this up is that this is a huge investment of your time, your energy, your focus.
It is.
It's also an investment of finances,
It
right?
is.
All of it is. So my question for you is the outcomes that you have now, and I'm going to ask both of you this, worth the investment of all the energy and financial resources into this program?
It is. The answer is yes, it is. You see me now, and I know Leon is happy. I'm back. And just to tell, I did not tell everybody, and if Jackie is here too and watching, I actually started driving yesterday.
Yes.
I haven't posted it yet.
She hasn't driven since September.
Since I went to the hospital. I haven't been behind the wheels, because my arms here, it keeps on falling down. Here, my arms and my shoulders are just really weak. But yesterday I did.
Now that's worth the investment there alone for me. That is well worth it. I'd do it again if I could get, if I know where I started and to where I am today, financially, I'd double it.
I mean, that's
It was a lot.
Thank you for that surprise. I had no idea you were driving again.
Yeah, like I said, I got it in here. I took a picture of it and I will post it.
Please post it. Remember what I say, it's not real until you post it.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Well, I was there. I can tell you it's real.
I love this. Thank you so much. What I want to do is everybody who's watching right now, if you can give them a thumbs up and a heart, and really, I mean, if this message touched you in some way and moved you, and you know somebody with autoimmune disease that can really be benefiting from the hope and the inspiration that Nympha and Leon has given us today, please comment in the comment section, share this to your personal page. And if you have autoimmune disease yourself and you have not watched our training about how to kill Godzilla, literally how to end and stop feeding Godzilla, go to drmaggie.com right now and register for our free training. Yeah, there's, I mean, Jackie's here. Yeah, there's Felicia's here. She wanted to say hi.
Okay.
Hi. She through the program. You guys, I think, joined around the same time, graduated around the same time. Awesome. So I wanted to thank you for your time, you two. This is so, and then the best gift you've given me, like literally, is just you driving, Nympha. You getting your life back.
That's true.
If you can post that, I would really appreciate that. And thank you so much, you two, for your time. You guys played full out, and I saw so much in how your mindset grew and changed during the program. I mean, Nympha, I mean, you're an inspiration with mindset change alone.
Yeah, and Maggie, our thanks to you because you have done so much for us that I can't express it in words. So if when we're better, we're gonna make a special trip to visit you and thank you personally for what you've done.
I hope you're coming to in March to our live event.
Well, I hope we can.
Yes.
I want to see the two of you.
Like you said, schedule it, right? We can't predict the future, but we can schedule it.
Yeah, that's one of the trainings I did, which is the 3 C's to crushing any goal. And one of the part of the 3 C is you got to book it, man. If you don't book it, it ain't going to happen, right? You cannot predict the future, but you absolutely can schedule it. So I guess I'll see you guys in March. All right. Mwah!
All right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, you guys. Have a great day. And thank you to our audience. And please share this and raise awareness. And you can visit us at drmaggie.com. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.